Hello everybody, today we're going to do a little video on getting the 178 out of his winter hibernation, because we're going to see if we can get it right, get it fitted up ready, and we're going to go and do some drilling with our 30 drill. So what we need to do, first of all, we need to shift the mower, so his mower's parked behind it, and what we're going to do, we're going to check all the fluids round. I'm sure it's going to start because I started it about a month ago. I charged the battery a month ago and put it on, because our fertilizer spreader was here on the pallet, and I thought we were going to have to move the tractor to get that out, but as it happens we just took the spreader out to the side, so it never got moved, but I'm sure it's going to start. Once it's out, we need to give it a wash. As you can see, it's covered in sawdust because it's been in the same shed with the cows, the sawdust that the cows bed on. So it's not dirty, it's just dusty, it needs all that washing off. Then we're going to grease it all around, get everything ready. And to run the drill we need a hydraulic service. So we do have spools on the tractor, but they're not functional at the moment. So what we're going to try and do is see if we can overcome the problem in this spool valve block. So check round the oils now before we start. Engine oil, good. Water. There's some in there, you probably can't see it, but there's some in there. Hydraulic oil. Yep. So there we go, that's all washed off, a little bit tidier now. So I've greased everything round to push all the water out of all the joints on the linkage and the clutch pedal and everything. I've greased the front axle round, but there's some grease nipples in the steering up under this, behind the grille, so we'll just whip that out and grease what's in there. So it's just held in by this big screw at the top. So this is an oil cooler for the multi-power. That's held in by a couple of wing nuts on a slot. So with that clear out of the way, that has revealed 3 grease nipples and the steering. So there's one here, one up on this top bearing, and there's one in the back there on the pin on the end of the ram. And now this top bearing and this housing here is unique to the 4-wheel drive ones. That just gives a bit more top support to the shaft. On the 2-wheel drive ones, the steering shaft just kind of ends here. This one's longer with this support, and there's a bearing in here, which I have replaced, and an oil seal. Since I got the tractor, I've replaced that bearing and took some of the play out of the steering system. Right, so that's the basics of getting out of hibernation done. So he's cleaned his grease round, we've checked all the oils. Before we go to work, we'll need to fuel it up. But what we need to do, before we can go drilling with it, we need to investigate that hydraulic problem. So this is the spool block. We have got flow and return from the pump. So it's a 3-slice spool block. So this first slice it's got hydraulic brakes on it, which is unusual for a tractor of this age. This second slice is a double acting service, as you can see, and the third and final slice is single acting with float. Now these were plumbed up properly to couplers at the back of the tractor. Okay, so they were bolted to here, but when I put this pickup hitch on, they were in the way, so I've had to take them off with a view to whenever I get the block sorted, I would need to remanufacture some brackets to keep them out of the way of the linkage. So my uncle, fortunately, was a fitter on during the 500 series era. He worked in a Massey dealership, and he's looked at this tractor and he said this spool block to him looks very similar, if not the same, to what they fitted onto 595s. Which would make sense because this is only just a little bit older than a 595, and it is made in France. And he said during the working life of the 595, it wasn't uncommon to be called out to spool blocks that weren't working. And what they did, he said, behind this plug is like a shuttle valve or a valve of some kind. He said that's what they had to take out, free it up, and they would go again. So hopefully, that's going to be our first port of investigation. Because in the past I have pressure tested the pump. My first suspicion was the pump wasn't any good, but I've pressure tested the pump and it's fine. So our next port of call, it's obviously there's oil getting to here and returning, but some of it is not coming past whatever is behind this. So that's the first job. We're going to take that out. Because at the moment I don't know what's behind it. Hung some rag down here so we don't spill oil everywhere. Now he assures me there's no springs or anything in there that's going to drop off. So hopefully we won't undo it and a little bit fire off the other side of the shed and we never see it again. So I have washed it as best I can, so we just give it a quick rub round because we don't want no dirt. Dirt is the enemy of the hydraulic system. We'll just give it a spray of solvent cleaner to get behind there and make sure it's properly clean. So here goes. There's a spring. Right, so upon investigation and a little poke in, little valve in there has moved. And whether that's enough, it wasn't a great deal. I would like to take it out, ideally. And clean it. I've poked it inwards a little bit, so it's not seized, but it was certainly stuck. How we get it out is another thing to ponder. So as you can see, we've got a leaky oil. Never had that before. So what I did, I turned the camera off and I scratched my head for a little bit, and I just put the bung back in, put this bung back in with the spring, and because that valve I had moved a little bit, I thought, well, perhaps that was enough. So I started up, and as you can see, we're leaking past the bungs, because I know they weren't terribly tight. So I'm taking that as a good sign. We've now got pressure to both levers. So next job, we're going to go and get our pipes back and somehow fix them on without letting them foul the pickup hitch. So that's the next little task. So this is our bracket that we had to take off to fit the hitch. As you can see, it was made as a double acting bracket with this other service cobbled onto the top, with the Doughty coupler on. So that's the single acting one, and these are the two double acting with and usually got the male ends on. Right, so I've got all the pipes put on. They're now out of the way of the pickup hitch, but they're not as yet fixed. I need to make a bracket, but they're held out of the way well enough just for a day's work. This one looks a bit goofy, stuck all the way up here, but you know, we can deal with it. We can make a bracket to suit. So I've been trying to do away firstly with that one, because that was the one I would like to use on the single acting spool, and I've been trying to figure out a way around of getting away from these nipples and putting proper couplings on there so that we can plug straight in. So after much head scratching, cursing a Frenchman and trying to work out why our fittings wouldn't fit, I've suddenly discovered the French use a metric fine system in their hydraulic fittings. So this thread here, although it's very close to 1/2 inch BSP, it's not quite. So what I've worked out, they're actually M20 by 1.5 thread pitch, which is easy to make. I can make those no bother. So I can make myself a bracket to hold them all tight. I can make some fittings to convert this existing nut and pipe system into a conversion fitting to then screw on some proper couplings. And it also explains, I knew I had 3/8 bungs in here. I knew they weren't right, but I wasn't sure what size was right. So that's why I put them in there to keep the dust out. I knew they weren't tight, but they were good enough to keep dust out. So that's why they leaked when I put some pressure on them. But that's obviously just a metric thread as well. I haven't measured it. I don't need to know those, because I'm going to reuse the same pipes. But that's why it was leaking. But all the original pipes in there are tight now, so that hopefully won't leak in the future. What I need to do is just make up a fitting to connect this to the drill, and then we will go drilling. So I've been tinkering with the pipe work without the camera running, and I've made a few discoveries. So first discovery, we have got full pressure to all of our surfaces. Second discovery we've made, this one that I said earlier on was a single acting with a float function. It's not actually. What I believe it is, I believe it's a motor spool valve. So what I thought was to tip a tray, that is actually no pressure. To when he clicks down there, he's got a detent on it to run a hydraulic motor or something. So, or you know, keep, you know, it's just got a detent on it. The double acting one, that all works fine. So I've had to make up this little coupler because we're running the wrong ends. So I've just joined these two together to allow us to push. So I've had a pressure gauge plugged in, and that would allow us to plug our drill in. The unfortunate discovery I've made on the double acting service, it will not hold pressure. So it will pressurize, but as soon as you let the lever back into neutral, it won't hold pressure. It drops back too quickly. To run the 30 drill, it needs to maintain its pressure because the coulters are forced into work under hydraulic pressure, and if that pressure drops, obviously they will creep up out and eventually disengage drive, which is not good, which is clearly unacceptable. So it's a bit of a disappointment, but I am pleased that we've actually, you know, got oil flow into the spools now, into the chest. So just by way of finishing off the video, I think what we'll do, we'll put the pickup hitch in, we'll just go and tip a trailer just to make sure, you know, that we can actually do something with it. So although it loses pressure, you know, it won't hold pressure long enough to run a drill, it will certainly hold pressure, hopefully. We're going to find out. If it holds pressure long enough to tip, I'm sure it will. So let's put the hook in, and then we will go and tip a trailer up just to see how it goes. So here it goes for the moment of truth. We're away. Well, we've got the trailer just up a little bit and it's holding. Something I did discover while I was pressing the lever, I'm not sure I was pressing it far enough through its travel. So I think I might leave this here for 2 seconds just while I go and get the pressure gauge. If that hasn't dropped anymore, we'll drop it down and put the gauge in. Now I actually know how the lever works. We'll try it again. Alright, so I'm back. I've got my pressure gauge. Trailer's still in the air, so what we'll do, we'll let him come down. Okay, let all the pressure out the system. Okay, let's put the gauge in. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to see that. You are stuck on the mud guard, so hopefully you don't jiggle about too much when I start it. So let's try again. Well, it went up to a very healthy figure and dropped back and settled. I think it is actually still over 1000 psi, but it is dropping. But it's not very quick. It's dropping pretty slow. Right, so that's about 4 minutes now. We're still just a bit under 1200 psi. So When I was on the double acting spool, that was dropping away in seconds to about 500 psi, and then dropping away over about a minute. But to still be over 1100 psi 4 minutes later, I think we'll give it a go now. I think we've had a change of plan part way through. I think we're going to try it, because I'm certainly holding now. I don't actually know what the drill requires. There is a lot of writing in the book about hydraulic pressures. I think I will read that before we make a final decision. We're starting to lose daylight now, so I think what I'll do, I'm going to read the book, see what it says about pressures, because there is. I know there's writing in the book about it, for the drill book. So I'm going to leave you here for now. I'm going to watch this for a bit longer, watch the gauge, and then we'll be back, maybe hitching on the drill. We'll see. Stay there, don't go away. Right, so here we are folks, we're all hitched on. I've got one bag of seed in the hopper, in the grass box, and we'll just chuck another bag in, or another half a bag. Right, so that's our box filled up. So this is a grass seed. If you can see the little tiny weeny little round ones is clover. So this is a grass and clover mix. And in the main hopper is some pea and barley seed. I'm not showing you that because I've not taken all them bags off. But we'll look at that later on. So let's get drilling. So this is the last little bit of pea and barley seed. This is just what was left from the field previous, so we're just using it up, and it's not going to cover the whole field. I'm just putting it all in, and it's not treated seed, so it's perfectly alright to handle it. And when it runs out, it runs out. So not the end of the world. The whole field doesn't get any. So there we go, folks, we have got to the other side. All the seed planted. Let's just have a quick check on the hopper. I know all the peas and barley are gone. Little bit of grass left, but that's all right. We don't want to run out. So this is the first time since I've had this tractor in about just a little bit over 3 years, and I've actually worked it all day. It's absolutely, it's done it perfectly. Our spool valve repair has gone faultlessly. There's no leaks or anything. Just have a quick check around the tractor, make sure we've not leaking, because this is the first time it's been up to temperature, you know, properly. So everything's all fine here. We've got a bit of a leak on the top of the oil filter, so that might just need a fibre washer in there, or it might just need a little tighten on the bolt. But other than that, everything else is dry, not leaking. There is a leak on the front axle. It's dripping a little bit there. I was aware of that. And we've got the seals in the end of the axles are leaking as well. So that's an upcoming job. So fixing that front axle is kind of it's planned for the winter. That's a job coming up. But other than that, I'm really pleased with the day. So really pleased with the way it's gone. Couldn't ask for better, really. You know, it did it just as well as any modern tractor would. Oh, let's just have a quick check on the diesel. See, the gauge is saying we've not used much, but I don't trust the gauge on it. Let's just check the tank. As it wasn't brimmed full this morning, I did fill it up, but it wasn't bung full. Can't get the lid off. There we go. Yeah, we've used an inch or so. Right, so that's brought us to the end. So if you've got any comments, put them in the comment section down below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, please. It's much appreciated. So I think that's about all we can do today. So I will say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.